Well, good morning, everyone. Isn't it great to be here live and in person? What do you think? My name is Sandy Carter, and probably some of you have seen me on a screen that's this big. I run our public sector partners and programs, and it's my privilege to be here with you today. We're also recording and streaming as well on video, so welcome to all of our video audience too. But I am really thrilled to be able to hug, fist bump, shake hands with many of you here today. Today we're going to talk about some celebrations, lots of great stuff going on. We've been doing listening sessions. We'll talk about how the actions that we've taken and about the innovation that we've been doing. So let's go ahead and get started. And I want to start by thanking all of you. I want to thank you for your business, everything that you've done with AWS. I want to thank you for the value that you bring to our customers, because I continually hear customers talk about all the really cool things that you guys are doing. And I also want to thank you on a personal note, especially since we've been through COVID together, where many of us have formed deep personal relationships too, checking on each other as we go along. So thank you for everything that you've done in the business. And for that, thank you will go dark, I guess, in the room too. Now I can't see anybody. The first thing I wanted to do is to celebrate. So if you're one of our 8 new premier partners, I would love to have you stand as I call out your partner name. Cloudicity, Consigna Cloud, Inquisit, Innovative, Navisite, PGS Software, Presidio, and last but not least, Effectual. Thank you. We know how hard it is to reach that premier tier, and we're so excited that you guys made that and made the commitment to public sector as well. So 8 new premier partners selling into public sector. So thank you guys, and let's celebrate them. Okay, so some of you have heard this story, but I thought it was such a good story for innovation. Many of you know I have 2 daughters, and one of our traditions is every Sunday I make them pancakes. And I have so many great recipes, so if you want any, let me know. But one day, my daughters came to me and they brought me this picture and they said, "Mom, can you make us that pancake?" And I said, "Of course I can make you that pancake." And this taught me a couple things about innovation. One, I worked backwards from my customer, which my daughters, who wanted a bunny pancake, and that it is a bunny pancake. 2, you know, when you're doing that MVP, sometimes you lack on the user interface a little. And 3, you've got to make something that your customer wants to use. So my daughters gobbled this down, and much to my chagrin, posted it all over Instagram as well. So innovation, as we innovate, you need to listen. That's what one of the things that I learned. And even though we were in COVID, I missed talking to you guys. Not just in QBRs, but I mean just sitting down and talking to you. So in 4th quarter, I started this 100 by 100 partner meetings, virtually of course, just getting to know you. And so you're going to see lots of the ideas that we talk about today, lots of the ideas will be from what you told me. Your direct ideas and your direct actions we'll highlight and talk about as we go through the day. So first one, actually, and while the lights are up, this is really good. I want to introduce Stefan Kirscher and Tom Strongergen, who's sitting here in the front row. So Stefan is our CTO of partners. How freaking cool is that, right? And Tom is his manager. He's got tons of CTOs around the world. And one of the things you guys asked us for was, could you share with us where the market is going? Not just where it's been, but where it's going. And so we sat down together and we pulled together a directional statement of where we are headed. So, you know, Web 1.0, when we started with e-commerce, Amazon really caught that trend. And then Web 2.0, as we're looking at some of the new things like mobile first, we were looking at social and even cloud. What's going on with cloud? Now we're moving up on Web 3.0. And to get there, one of the things that people are talking about and using are containers. Containers will be the new compute. In fact, I was with a customer the other day, and he said to me, if you can't speak containers, you're no longer speaking compute to me. And then we're going into Web 3.0, and it's all over LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook, and Clubhouse is doing all kinds of sessions on Web 3.0. Now, we don't know for sure if all these things are going to come true, but these are all the hot things that are happening today. So the metaverse, using augmented reality and virtual reality, along with gaming and simulation, is taking off. I'll just pick one other one that I think is interesting, which is blockchain. I don't know if you guys saw the announcement last week from Twitter, where they're now using a public blockchain to verify NFTs. We also now have countries like Panama, El Salvador, the Ukraine, who are now building their economies, currency, Bitcoin, based on a public blockchain. Has the potential for a lot of disruption in what we're seeing in government around the world. Now, I don't do this justice because we don't have a lot of time, but I know that Tom and Stefan are going to host a webinar on some of these things that are coming up, so stay tuned for that, and you can really deep dive in what's coming in the future. So based on that, we're going to make some announcements today. In fact, we're going to talk about 15 different announcements that we're making today. Just for you, our partners, many with you, our partners, and you'll notice those because they'll have a star in the upper right-hand corner, just as an FYI. So you guys ready to go? Ready to go? Okay. This is so much better than pitching in front of a camera that doesn't respond to you. Now, I don't know about the lights going up and down and all over the place. That's a little distracting, but other than that, I think it's much better. Okay, our 2021 priorities. We called these out at reInvent, and we talked about 3 things that we were going to rally around as a team. Mission, how we're going to meet the needs of the mission of our customers, growing 5 times faster than just an IT budget. Migration, how we're taking things from on-prem to the cloud, and modernization, that container area that we talked about earlier. And then, of course, we're always constantly trying to raise the bar around that partner experience. I know we have work to do there, and we're continually focusing on it and doing more and more, again, listening to your advice. So let's start out and look at that mission area. Now again, another segue to some of the things that you asked for from that same study that I told you about earlier. You asked us, which are the segments that are going to change the most? We're going to deep dive today into government and healthcare, just because we can't cover all of them completely in the time we have. But there are so many others on here. You're going to hear from Clint later in our sales fireside chat. Think about space. This year was the first time AWS attended the Space Symposium. We had space tourism that started. Talked to a lot of partners who are looking at data coming down from satellites being used to impact agriculture, climate, environment, the whole 9 yards. Technology is going to impact each of these missions, and we want to help you to be part of that new world that's going forward. Some examples here, Orbital Insight, I don't know if they're in the room. I got to meet them at the Space Symposium. They're using and leveraging data from space to impact the environment and environmental changes. What a great mission. SAP NS2, one of our big strategic partners, uses their ERP systems to help maintain and train and equip our combat forces. And then, of course, Presidio, one of our newest premier partners. Great story, one of our partner award winners this year. They are helping the Cherokee Nation preserve their language using gaming techniques and the cloud. These are mission examples. We're not talking about just the technology, but we're talking about the mission, the lives that we're changing, the things that we're doing different, the reason that we are really here in public sector, that purpose, that deep purpose. So as we think about mission, I wanted to do a little bit deeper dive into 2 of the mission areas. One is healthcare, and we have Dr. Rowland here with us today. He will be later coming up on the panel. Healthcare is one of those areas that's one of our fastest growing in public sector. We're using all the usual suspects like data and cost recovery and security and compliance. But we see a lot of new things happening in healthcare. Telemedicine, taking 30% of the venture funding today. Computing at the edge with AI. Looking at low-code, no-code. Appian has been leveraging low-code, no-code to allow medical professionals to design applications. And then, of course, there is the metaverse that we talked about. But instead of talking about it, I thought I would introduce one of our very first announcements today. And this is with one of our technology partners called Electronic Caregiver. If you don't know them, you definitely should. They've going to GA both Addy, which is a healthcare platform for personal care through a virtual caregiver, as well as Addison, who is the virtual caregiver. It's built on AWS, of course, and it uses Amazon Poly and our Amazon IoT Core. But as Mark says, I don't know if Mark's here, but as Mark says, that the real wow factor is all about using Poly and IoT with Addison, the virtual caregiver, to deliver some very cool analytics for healthcare moving forward. They already have a whole set of customers, but instead of me telling you about it, I'd love to have you take a peek at their video.
Welcome to Addison Care.
Meet Addison. She may look like a character in a sci-fi movie, but the virtual caregiver provides real-world help to those in need.
If you're ever having an emergency, say Addison Help. As soon as I hear that, I'll connect you to emergency services right away.
Addison transforms a home for the first time into a smart health home. From chronic disease management to rehabilitation, behavioral health, overcoming isolation, depression, there's so many things she can do.
There's so many things that you guys can do too with this solution. If you're a system integrator, this is a great one to bring into your portfolio. If you're an ISV, there are lots of APIs here. This is one of our very first announcements today that Electronic Caregiver will be releasing Addison and Addy by the end of the year on AWS. So if you think about a couple of other really interesting things, we talked about compliance being important. And you, in our last partner survey, said that the ATO program, Authority to Operate, was one of your top-rated programs. And Tim Savage, who runs this program for us, had the foresight to say, you know what, healthcare with HIPAA and high trust is really gaining traction. So we kicked off ATO for HIPAA and high trust, and it is now our fastest growing ATO, 85% year over year. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out because this is one of the fastest growing areas that we have today. Now, I don't know if you caught this announcement or not, but we did announce our specialized data lake for healthcare. And why is this so cool? Well, we GA'd this product in July, and there's a couple of things that you might not know about it. There is a whole set of built-in analytics for healthcare around a set of domains. There is also a HIPAA, out-of-the-box HIPAA eligibility if you're an ISV. And then the deployment, there are templating and ways that you can deploy this data lake very quickly, adding your data into the data that really exists for your customers as well. This is one of our top things that our customers are asking for. I know we've presented this to several customers, so if you haven't checked out the data lake, specifically for healthcare, you should definitely do that. Okay, another announcement that we're making today, in fact, the blog just went live right before I got up on stage, was our Healthcare Accelerator Cohort. Now, part of what you told us is you were looking for new disruptive technologies and companies. And these are our next set of growing partners that we'll have. We kicked off accelerators led by the brainchild of Manpreet Matu, who should be in the audience somewhere. Manpreet decided to launch these accelerators. And they just took off like wildfire. Most accelerators get 50 to 100 applications. We got 427 applications across 31 different countries. And so today, up here in this cloud, in partnership with KidX, we are announcing the 10 cohorts that were chosen out of those 427 applications. Now, if you're sitting here, you should say, wow, I really need to meet these 10 partners, because it's an opportunity to build a whole new ecosystem around healthcare. But instead of me talking about what's going on with this Healthcare Accelerator, I would like to invite up Jennifer Bartholomew, who is the CEO and founder of One Record and one of the top 10 cohorts for healthcare. Jennifer?
Hi, everyone. My name's Jennifer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of One Record, and I'm very excited to be part of the AWS Healthcare Accelerator, so I thought I would collect all your medical records in one place. And what happened during doing that is we found that people actually wanted to leverage the APIs that we built. So we've gotten really good at building out a directory of all the FHIR URLs that there are in the United States as mandated under 21st Century Cures Act. So what we're planning to do with the Accelerator program is to launch our API for partners so that they can take what we've done very well and build it into their workflows. And it's very exciting. One of our earliest use cases is with a provider organization in the Northeast who is building out a registry for a heart condition that isn't often studied. And with that, they will have patients consent their data, and they will put it into essentially a data lake, and they will do a large-scale study where they're seeing patients who have their data and then patients who don't have their data, and they'll conduct long-term research. Today we work with provider organizations who want to streamline their intake process. Think about telemedicine, the decentralization of care. We work with payers who really want to know their members as they're onboarding, and then solve the gap in care problem or create personalized care journeys. And then, like I mentioned, we work with organizations that are conducting clinical trials, research, registries, so that they can have a consumer-in-the-loop workflow. And what that means is the consumer is actively consenting their data and opting into a new model. So now, part of the Accelerator program will be getting ready to launch our API on the marketplace and hopefully working with organizations like yourself to build out workflows for your customers. And that is part of our roadmap. And the next 4 weeks are an intensive program. Later today, I'll be part of the Accelerator sessions. And it's exciting to be among other startups of today that will be enterprises of tomorrow and listen to how they're thinking about solving the problems of healthcare. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the summit.
So I think that this is phenomenal. Jennifer and her team have built some incredible things to help us out in healthcare. Again, an opportunity for all of you to partner with her today, as well as the other 9 companies that we just announced today as well. So congratulations, Jennifer. Nicely done. Another interesting announcement that we're making today is with Ingram Micro. I don't know if Tim Fitzgerald's here, but he and I were actually at the Girls in Tech Gala in Phoenix, and we were talking about healthcare and how fast it's growing. And one of the things that Ingram Micro has been doing is focused on a partner pathway for healthcare. And so today, they are announcing that joining them in that partner healthcare to help all of the partners with PII compliant healthcare data, as well as resellers and SIs as well, build a broader portfolio. Ingram Micro now is working with Clear Data on the security platform, as well as Keystone for EMR, or the medical records that you're looking at as well. So this is another one of our announcements in healthcare. So as you can see, AWS is not just helping around technology, but also helping around the mission for healthcare as well. So now let's flip over to government. So healthcare we talked about as one of our fastest growing areas. Government is truly our biggest area that we focus on today, and it's only grown bigger during COVID. Again, we have a lot of the same trends that we've been seeing for a while. Security, very important, going from doing digital to being digital. But now we're also seeing other trends that are coming alive in government. Things like environmental, societal, and governance. So we just did a couple of bids where we had to show environmentally, sustainability, that we were meeting the standards that were there. In terms of society, we've been asked to showcase our diversity metrics and what we're doing there. And on governance, today when people talk about AI, they're not just talking about AI, but they want to understand open AI, explainable AI. So what's going on in the black box? And so we're trying, again, to help all of you partners be able to address those as we're moving forward in deals. So one of the other big trends that Rebecca Weatherly and her team has really taken hold of, based on, again, talking to you, our partners, is this area of O&M, operations and maintenance. So making sure that we can modernize all of our assets in their life cycle. In fact, when I flew here, they switched out my plane 3 times because of mechanical issues. So I think many people need help in this particular area. In the US alone, for public sector, we're talking about 230 different postal vehicles, thousands of planes. And PavCon, one of our partners, has already jump-started this area with a predictive maintenance engine that they've been using for the Air Force. Now, the opportunity here is great, and it's growing even more substantially. So we're starting discussions on this area now, and you'll hear more about this area at reInvent as well as one of our top trend areas. Okay, now I'm really excited about this announcement because you know that we at Amazon aren't really that competitive, but I am really pleased to announce that our government competency is now the #1 competency in all of AWS. This is a huge deal, and I have to tell you, my friend Frank Fallon, who runs financial services, asked us to double-check the numbers several times before we could make this claim. Now, the 100th partner is the partner that set us over that largest competency. And so today, there was actually a tie. You can't make this stuff up. We had 1 technology partner and 1 consulting partner that came in together. And so I'd like to bring them up on stage and present them with a plaque for being our 100th government competency. And so first, for technology, I would like to bring up on stage Brendan for Sprinkler. Sprinkler, as you guys know, welcome. There you go, Brendan, thank you. Sprinkler is a company based out of New York, and they do a lot of work with social media management. In fact, AWS is a customer of Sprinkler. Thank you, Brandon, for being 100th on the technology side. Okay, on the consulting side, we have ThoughtWorks. ThoughtWorks, Chris, would you join me up on stage, please? Hang on 1 second. Let me get your logo there. I didn't double click on there we go. There we go. So Chris Graham works for ThoughtWorks, and they are a consulting partner of ours that really focuses on digital innovation and digital transformation. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you. And thanks to all of you for making government our #1 competency today. Another announcement we wanted to make is our team under Rebecca was looking at some of the new funding that's coming out. And there's something called the Technology Modernization Fund. I don't know if you know it or not, but they just added to the $50 million they typically fund another $1 billion in additional funding. And so what we are doing is we have a seminar, a webinar that's now available for you to talk to you about how you can provide assistance to your customers to port forward some of these really strong projects so that you would be accepted for getting some of this TMF funding. So we'll go through some samples of what's worked in the past, some of the changes that they've made to get the new funding, and as well some additional resources that you can take advantage of in this particular space as well. So you don't want to miss this for an additional $1 billion of funding. Now, one of the things we talked about earlier was our ATO program, and it all started with Fedramp. And we're really proud today that we have more Fedramp solutions that we've helped you with than anyone else in the business. In fact, 4.2 times the number of Fedramp solutions than any other cloud provider that's out there today. And so, again, if you haven't checked out that ATO program, you should do that. We work with some of our great partners like Anisian and Coldfire to do things like that. Speaking of Coldfire, we have a really big announcement as well that I'd love to bring Lynn Martin, who is the Vice President and General Manager for Government, Education, and Healthcare at VMware, up to the stage. Thank you, Lynn. Do you want to do that? Got it. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy, and good morning, everyone. Nice to see everybody. So, VMware and Amazon have had a very strategic partnership over the last 5 years that started with our previous CEO, Pat Gelsinger, and Andy Jassy from Amazon, really to look at the industry and figure out how do we bring the breadth of the VMware portfolio and the strong presence we have in the data center and the outstanding premier technologies and cloud services that Amazon has in the marketplace. And as you can see here, we've had a journey across the business from the two companies, and we've been working together to bring today, and excited to announce that we have received our VMC on AWS ATO for Fedramp High. Lots of partnership from lots of folks on Sandy's team and the engineering team. I also want to thank the Coalfire team. They were a great consultant to the VMware engineering team and the VMware engineering teams. And really, when you think about this, I would say this is the first step in our technology journey. Tomorrow, we kick off the JAB with the Department of Defense, and we have IL5 in process as we speak, and roadmaps to continue to advance the technology and support our mutual customers together. So when we think about that, what's in it for the partners and the folks in this room? What it will help you guys achieve is really looking at all the workloads across the government, and I'll add in the state and local. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about StateRamp, which Fedramp High will also meet, but really the opportunity to take workloads that the government has kept on-prem or have had problems moving to the cloud on the VMware portfolio and be able to port those applications in a modern hybrid journey in partnership with Amazon. So I think for all of you guys, there's new opportunities within the systems integrators, the partner ecosystem, and the industry at large to help our mutual customers really get the best of breed for their workloads and be able to help their journey to the cloud. None of this could be done without the strategic partnership between Amazon and VMware and the folks that have worked together for many years to do this. And I really want to thank Sandy Carter for her sponsorship and Tim and the engineering team at Amazon. I believe you guys were in the room with us maybe 3 Junes ago, kicking off work here. So huge thanks to everybody at Amazon, the Coalfire team, and I look forward to working with all the partners here as we figure how we can accelerate the journey of our mutual customers. Thanks so much, and have a great event.
Yeah, hang on, Lynn. Hang on 1 second. So you guys may or may not know, Lynn has been working on getting VMware Cloud to Fedramp High for a while. And you know, anybody who's done Fedramp High knows that it's really hard. So I wanted to personally thank Lynn for everything that you've done too. So thank you. Thank you. Congratulations to you. Yeah. Okay, so to close out our mission session then, I wanted to do our 1, 2, 3 on things that apply across the mission, because we went into a deep dive on healthcare and on government, but there are some things that we're doing for mission across the board. So the first is around repeatable solutions. We kicked this off at reInvent, talking about repeatable solutions. We used a couple of examples from Splunk as a great partner who's been recreating solutions, and our sellers love that, right? Because then they know it works in one place and they can replicate that. A couple other partners that have been doing a really great job here, Zaharo, who has been replicating a lot of COVID area, especially around at-home disease testing. Accenture, another great partner of ours, who's been replicating vaccine management that is now used in several different states. And Ardent, who has a crowd checker that looks at the sizes of crowds, and that's been really important as well during our times of COVID. So we would love to have you tell us what those repeatable solutions are as well, so we can help you interlock with our sales team. And I'm really excited to announce this next area for us. This is another one of our announcements. We want to do repeatable solutions in the small and medium enterprise space. So Victoria Thompson, if you can find her somewhere in the room or maybe in our overflow room, she's been spearheading this for our solution providers to help us build repeatable solutions that will really work in that small and medium enterprise space so that together we can take these to market. This is just a pilot. It's invite only, so if you're interested, talk to your PDM. And what we provide is access to funding, go-to-market, and some technical resources around the space as well to help us to get those repeatable solutions for our small and medium enterprise space. Okay, number 2, those industry competencies. So you just heard government is number 1 across all of AWS. We have more than just government and public sector, though. We have education. Kim Majerus will be leading a session today around education in our leadership circle. If you're an education competency partner, you're invited to that. Nonprofit, Alex Hart is leading a session later today for not-for-profit. Healthcare, our very own Roland, Hito, and Steve will be leading that session. And public safety and disaster response will be led by Maggie Carter. Dave Levy himself will come to the government competency leadership circle. Now, why is that important? Well, you told us you wanted tighter interlock with the sales team. And so not only will you see them on stage today, but they're going to go and spend quality time with you, listening to what's working, what's not working, and you can listen to their thoughts on what you guys can do as well to better interlock with that sales team. And then our third area is another really exciting area. We're partnering here with Dom's team, and you'll talk to Dom here in a few minutes on the leadership session. Dom's team has been building out these mission accelerators. They're built in our Envision engineering team. And together, we came up with this idea, working with Amy Belcher, to come up with a program to take those same accelerators that we're using for our ProServe team and make those available to our partners. So that team did a pilot of this starting in June. It's still in pilot phase, so if you're interested in joining this, make sure you talk to your PDM to see how that you can get involved or engaged in using some of these assets that come out of Dom's team as well. Okay, so that's our mission area. I won't spend as much time on all the other areas, but I wanted to make sure that we went through that because, again, there's 5 times the opportunity in mission than just straight IT. So I wanted to spend some time showcasing what we're doing there because it's different for us, right? Really focusing on that industry expertise or that mission space. In fact, the SA team, Alan Hamachi, was telling me that our SAs now are being asked so much more about industry knowledge. What can they offer in terms of industry, not just technology? So that area is really important. So let's now go on to migration, because migration is very important to us as well. And in fact, as we've surveyed our customers, what's becoming more important to them is the speed of the migration, the velocity of the migration, because they want to get to the cloud faster. Now, in order to help them, I put a plea out for you guys to say we need more migration competency partners. And that was at reInvent. We had 100, and I'm really pleased to announce that we now have twice as many migration partners as we did at reInvent. So we had 100 partners at reInvent. This was the slide that I used at reInvent to congratulate all of these partners. But since reInvent, we now have, in addition, all of these partners who do migration as well as public sector. We still need more, guys. We still need more. We're actually doing an assessment right now by country, by mission area, how many more partners we need. So we still have opportunities here. So even though we already have 200 public sector partners who have that migration competency, which is pretty hard to get, by the way, we still need more partners. So if you're interested in this competency, make sure you talk to Jim Butler on my team sometime today. Now, part of the value you get from becoming a migration partner is you get access to MAP, our Migration Acceleration Program. And this is our 2.0 version, again, listening to you. Folks like Slalom, Dave Cutler, have said it's one of their favorite programs because what it does is it provides cash as you're doing the assessment and the business case for that migration. There's a second outlay of cash when you put together the project plan and you plan all that out. And then there's a third outlay of cash to help you do the actual migration and hopefully modernization at the same time. It's a very rich program, only available to our migration competency partners. So if you think about all the different migrations that we do, Lynn talked about VMware Cloud on AWS, that's a migration. We're also focused on mainframe migrations, data-led migrations, as well as our application migrations. And in mainframe, I don't know if you guys know this, but public sector today has the largest concentration of mainframes globally. So there's a lot of opportunity there. If you are a mainframe migration competency partner, we have recently announced that Micro Focus and the tools that can be used there to migrate the mainframe over to AWS, those assessment and build tools that are available in Marketplace are now available for free for all of our mainframe competency partners. And I can tell you, I am the partnership exec for several customers that call me every week wanting to migrate off of their mainframe. They probably call me because I'm probably the one who sold it to them when I was at IBM. Here's our mainframe migration competencies partners today. We're doing this competency for both the technology partners as well as the consulting partners. And I'll just point out and brag about Deloitte. Deloitte right now is our only mainframe competency partner in both the technology side with their assets, as well as in the consulting side with the work that they're doing across the board for the mainframes. Now, one of the areas that I'm most excited about is our data-led migration area. I took forward a narrative and a business case to Andy last year to fund this because data migrations and use of analytics is the fastest velocity migration that we have, and it has the highest customer sat rating as well. Now, why is that? Well, when you migrate an application, it works here, it's now working in the cloud, it's faster and cheaper, but there's really no new function that you get. You get agility and cost, which is very valuable. But on data, when you migrate that data over, and then you use that data for new decision making, now you've got real-time access. You can leverage that for machine learning. There's so many things more that you can do there. And I love this factoid. This came from the World Economic Forum. 25 quadrillion bytes of data are generated every day. That's unreal to me. So how do we capitalize that data? Well, we've kicked off a couple of big focus areas, and this is one. You guys asked us for more marketing. So we have tripled down on our data-led migration campaigns. Sabina Goldberg, that's here somewhere on the marketing team, is doing a fabulous job on our marketing here, and we want more partners to participate. So she's kicked off a partner video campaign called Government Powered by Data. She's got ebooks that are now going out by geography. We've got a whole set of digital advertising coming out, and we've got a lot more opportunities because we just funneled more money here because of the strong ROI that we're already seeing, but more importantly, the big value that our customers are seeing. So if you haven't checked out this part of our marketing, please make sure that you do that as well. We do have a session on Wednesday where we'll be talking about data-led migration. They're actually letting our partner-led team do that customer session. So I've invited both Databricks, Splunk, and VMware that will be in that session with us, And that session is on Wednesday, if anybody would like to join us for that session. Okay, another new announcement in migration, and I'm really pleased to make this announcement as well. So we have a group called AMS, Amazon Managed Services. And what they do is they will do the outsourcing of IT for a customer if they would like that. And AMS, under John Brigden, has also now started an AMS acceleration program, where we will also have our partners become managed service providers for those different tasks as well. And I'm pleased to announce today that we'll go out in the wire right when we're done, that Smartronix is the first AWS managed service partner with a Fedramp compliant solution. This is a really big deal for our customers who can really get faster migration help and do that quickly with a managed service, as well as for our ISVs who can now leverage that whole stack as well. So congratulations to Smartronix for being our first AWS managed service partner. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to modernization. And modernization, we've talked about now where Web 3.0 is going and where the technology is going. We also assist you in this area as well. So modernization, we have lots of opportunity. We talked a lot about some of these, like with blockchain coming up in Web 3.0, or IoT in the edge, or artificial intelligence. What we want to do is make sure you have all the technical help that you need to impact those missions as well. So some of the things that we're doing on quantum, we're really encouraging everybody to explore this. Today, public sector is leading the pack for quantum usage, primarily in research. If you want to try out Bracket, it's a very easy way just to try quantum out. Very cost effective, just a great way to get that started. Our AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, Wilford, Justin on my team, kicked off a rapid adoption assistance program. We've got over 20 solutions that he's assisted since reInvent last year. If you haven't taken a look at this, it's free. It helps you to envision, enable, and do a first prototype. And then containers. We talked about how containers are the new compute. We do have a containers team. You're going to hear more about this at reInvent, more really focused on driving that use of containerization as well. So that's what we have today on the truck, but we also have some new things for you that I want to talk about. And I'll just let you consume this funny comic here real quick. Everybody's talking about blockchain. Nobody really knows what it is. I will tell you, customers will call me and they'll say, hey, can you come and talk about my blockchain? I'm like, oh, are you using our Hyperledger? Oh, is that part of blockchain? I didn't know that was part of blockchain. Blockchain has a lot of impact right now, and in fact, Tom and I were just chatting last week, I think, about how this has the opportunity to really disrupt governments around the world. You saw Ukraine, Panama, and El Salvador all switch to global Bitcoin. We actually talked to McDonald's, who now has to take Bitcoin in El Salvador. Whole countries are making decisions. And so we put together some training so that you can answer the question, what is blockchain? In fact, last week, Stefan and I got a call from a partner who was setting up their own Hyperledger, and they wanted some help on that. If you haven't started looking at this, I would advise you just to start looking at what you can do on the blockchain, both public and private. So a couple of more announcements that I'd like to make. Wilford had kicked off the machine learning and artificial intelligence rapid adoption assistance. You guys told us that you really love that. But with COVID, IoT sensors started going in everywhere. And you guys asked, can we do the same thing for IoT? So you asked and we delivered. We are kicking off today, in fact the blog goes live today at 11, our IoT rapid adoption assistance, providing the same type of value that we do for AI and ML. Helping to envision what you can do with all that data coming in from all those sensors. IDC says 4 times the number of sensors available today. To helping you to get enabled on our IoT core, like you saw electronic caregiver do, to then actually building a prototype as you move forward. So congratulations to this team, and I'd love to see if you guys are interested to set up a meeting with Wilfred while you're here at the conference. And then another announcement that I'd like to make today as an opportunity for partners as well is our service integration. One of the things that we think that is very valuable to our customers is when our partner has integrated with our service. And we just published a blog with Palantir, one of our most strategic partners. As you guys know, they focus on data integration. And Abby Ram on my team has been working with Palantir and our service team to do the integration of SageMaker with that data coming in. So instead of having to use a connector or do it manually, that data now can flow directly into SageMaker to create those machine learning models. On the right-hand side is another big opportunity around TextTrack, and this is around document automation. We've been noticing lately a lot of new opportunities coming in for how do I automate all that document processing, which we know the government has a lot of. And so we have a new focus on Amazon TextTrack, which uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to help drive a lot of that document processing. So if you'd like to check that out, you can also talk to Abby about these two areas for artificial intelligence as well. And then last but not least, we talked about the startups and Manpreet on my team being so brilliant to come up with this idea of accelerators. You heard Jennifer from One Record talking about the healthcare accelerator. We also did that for clean energy or sustainability, and we also did that for space. So if you're thinking, wow, what Jennifer talked about was so cool, I want to embed that into my portfolio, please make sure you check out as well what's happening with clean energy and space there too. The other big announcement that we're making, especially on behalf of those who are viewing this via virtual video, is that we have also now taken our Startup Ramp program, which is to help onboard new public sector startups, and we've now expanded that to Asia Pacific and Japan. That was a big, heavy lift, but now we have so many new startups coming in that are public sector startups, the future generation of partners in that space. Okay, so we are now going to go on to an area that I know all of you talk to me about all the time, which is around the partner experience, and in particular, wanting to know more about the programs. And you guys have a lot of input in our program areas. And I am so lucky and so blessed to have an amazing leader for our program team. I'd like to bring up Amy Belcher, who is our leader worldwide for our public sector programs. And she's going to walk you through some of the current programs as well as some of the brand new programs too. Amy, welcome.
Thank you.
Let me give you that.
Thank you. I know what you're thinking. We did not plan to coordinate. It was not a hot pink and gold button jacket requirement, in case you were wondering. I am so thrilled to spend this time with you today. I spent 13 years in my channel career as a partner. So as we talk about programs and the partner experience, I really put myself in your shoes, having been in that world for so long. It's not about just producing new programs, it's what's the value, what's in it for you, and what can we do to make the experience more seamless. So I'll start out sharing the top existing programs. And I'll start with the Partner Transformation Program. Some of you in the room have actually gone through this program and you're seeing the results for PTP. The Partner Transformation Program is a platform to build a partner's AWS business. We take a deep dive assessment into the partner's cloud readiness and build out a transformational plan that includes a customized roadmap of all the activities a partner needs to complete to build and grow an AWS practice. And here's the most important point. Graduates of the PTP program average 25% more revenue compared to non-PTP partners. So we definitely see the benefit for that. The next program I want to tell you about is Newbie, also known as the New Business Engagement Program. This program is targeted to solution providers and it incentivizes and rewards partners for driving net new public sector business. With a newbie approved opportunity, a partner will receive a monthly incremental discount for up to 24 months, so it's additional margin in your pocket. And then finally, I'll cover Think Big for Small Business. Here's a factoid for you. Half of the partners that support public sector customers are small businesses. And so the size works in their favor because they're able to be agile and deliver AWS innovative solutions. However, their size also presents challenges when it comes to meeting APN tier requirements, which means they don't always receive the APN valuable benefits. So Think Big for Small Business is focused on businesses with 100 employees or more, or less, and or minority owned from underrepresented groups. And what we do is we provide these Think Big for Small Business partners provisional access to program benefits, and we extend the time for them to meet the APN tier requirements. So year to date, we've onboarded 100 partners into this program from 42 countries around the world. If you have any questions on those programs, certainly contact your partner manager, or you can reach out to me directly. And now I'd love to cover 2 new programs that I'm just so fired up about for 2 very different types of partners. The first is a self-service public sector navigate platform. And this is a new track that provides virtual onboarding for new AWS partners. I like to refer to this as virtual new hire training for partners. Today, Navigate is available in English, but by Friday of this week, it will be available in 6 additional languages. Excuse me. And then the second program, ProServe Ready, is for more advanced partners. ProServe Ready allows us to work with advanced tier or higher partners in the public sector program and allows us to seamlessly partner with them to deliver ProServe engagements. So the partner essentially becomes a subcontractor for ProServe engagements. The program includes customized training, best practices, and additional hand-holding to make sure that the partner is set up for success. ProServe Ready launched earlier this month in the US and EMEA, and we will expand it into other regions in 2022. And I'd be remiss if I didn't cover 3 top initiatives that you should be taking advantage of to help accelerate your AWS business. The first is the Capture and Proposal team. This team is so impressive. It's a dedicated organization with proposal and tech writers to help you respond to bidding opportunities and RFPs. So if you're not already working with this group, be sure to reach out to your partner manager, and they can engage that team and give you access to the resources, the tools, and self-serve content. The second is Concierge. What we've done, and Austin Adams, my peer, leads this exceptional team, we've taken the successful US Concierge business unit and we've replicated it for EMEA and APJ. This team prides itself with onboarding net new public sector partners and accelerating their growth using AWS tools and subject matter experts. And then finally, I think we're all familiar with the executive order that President Biden signed earlier this year. Security, without a doubt, continues to be an AWS top priority. And from the beginning, security is weaved into the fabric of all AWS services. We have multiple opportunities for you to take advantage of this executive order and help your customers meet the accelerated timeline and these requirements. So reach out to your partner manager and learn more about the ebooks, the webinars, and the upcoming trainings to make sure that you can take advantage of the opportunity. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Sandy to talk about how you can work with your partner peers to uncover new opportunities. Thank you so much.
We actually did coordinate. She just didn't want to tell you that. I guess the rest of you did not get the memo that pink was the color of the day. Okay, so the last area I want to talk to you about is one that you guys talked to me about a lot in that 100 by 100 day tour, which was around partnering with partners. And many of you said that, I want to be connected to these partners. Can you do that in an automated fashion? And so what I wanted to do today is to share with you some of the places where we've seen this partnering to partner work really well and do some new announcements in this space. We also believe that partnering with partners is a big accelerator, a big game changer for us. And by having you guys pair up with each other, you really multiply your value in the market. We are right now working on some ways to do this in an automated fashion, and I know many of you have given me some ideas about how to do that. Right now, we're making connections more manually. So if you are interested in being connected with another partner, let us know. It could be a startup. I know Manpreet would love to have you guys reach out to all of his startups and all of these accelerators around the world. So as you're thinking about it and as you're meeting folks today, if there is another partner that you're interested in being connected with, let us know that. One example of this partnering with partners force multiplier is with Pegasystems and Accenture. This is for probably most of my friends on video who are working in Asia Pacific, but the same theory could work in any location around the world. So the Australian government came to us and they wanted to see how they could really kickstart a post-COVID economy. I think all of us would love to do that, right? And so they working together, we worked with Accenture to lay out a plan, and we brought in Pegasystems. Now, if you don't know Pegasystems, Pega is also one of our top partners, and what they focus us on is they have a platform for case management. So Accenture and Pega really got together and drove this particular area, leveraging a lot of partner programs that Amy just talked to you about. Leveraging those programs, and ones I talked to you about, like ATO, they were able to close this deal, which is one of the very largest deals that we have closed in Asia Pacific. We truly believe, as well as the sales leader believes there, that the deal was so large because we had the partnering to partner to really showcase the value that this brought to the market and to the customer in particular. So I wanted to announce another partnering with partner area today that I felt would impact all of you as well. 3 of our partners have come together, Telos and Splunk, which are 2 of our great partners on the ISV pathway, and then Stack Armor, which is also an SI or a consulting partner for us. They came and they said, there's a lot of new rules and regulations out there that are occurring. NEST, OSCAR, all these new cybersecurity areas. And as we're looking at ATO, or authority to operate, we really need to take all of those into account. So they got together with us and formed a partnering to partner grouping. And today they are announcing a faster viewpoint. And that takes into account the Telos power that they bring to the equation, especially with Nest 1.0, 2.0, and Splunk with their security platform, and leveraging the overall ATO program that Stack Armor has been doing for quite some time with us to really generate this power in the marketplace. So congratulations. Let's give a big round of applause to Telos, Splunk, and Stack Armor for this new offering. So if you are an ISV, this is a great place for you to look as you're trying to navigate all of the new things that are coming out. You heard Lynn mention StateRamp, Fedramp, new cybersecurity rules and regulations. Faster may be a great way for you to go as well. Okay, so we have another announcement that we are really pleased to make, and I'd love to bring up on the stage Matt Mandruk from Zoom, who will talk to us about this particular announcement. Matt, welcome up. I'm gonna go behind you. Yep, thank you. Oh, just press the green button? Yeah, there you go. Oops, no, other way.
Oh, sorry.
Unless you want to do the tell us announcement. Here you go. Yeah, there you go.
So I have to say that Sandy did send out a memo for wearing black and pink, and I chose to ignore it today. So thank you for having me. My name is Matt Mandrock. I'm the head of U.S. Public Sector for Zoom, and I could not be more excited to be standing here to announce today what we're doing with AWS. 8 months ago, I reached out to a couple of the AWS public sector sales leaders about getting together in a co-selling partnership, and it was well received. So we put in motion a plan to operationally put this together and make it happen. And with the hard work between Zoom, AWS, Caresoft, and Tackle.io, we brought this together. And for all of you who are here and listening, thank you for all the work you did to put this together. We're starting this relationship out right now with federal, state, and local government, and we're expanding it quickly to education. So people say, why are you doing this? There's 3 key areas why this is important here and now for our customers and our partners. First, AWS and Zoom have a very mutual competitor in the space that begins with an M. Now we can go in together, AWS, Zoom, to our customers, bring solutions, and actually help them evolve, innovate, and transform through their hybrid, people-centric workplace journey. And many of those solutions that we bring together could include partners like yourself. Second, Zoom is on AWS. We have 2 platforms, the AWS, or the Zoom Enterprise platform, which actually is on the AWS cloud, and our Zoom for Government platform, which sits on the AWS GovCloud. From there, our Zoom for Government platform has been Fedramp Impact Level 2 Moderate since April 2019, and we just received a designation for DoD Impact Level 4 with an authorization to operate with conditions from the Department of the Air Force while we go through our provisional at DISA. The conditions on this ATO are simple directions and guidelines to follow for doing this and putting that platform in place. Next round was mentioned earlier about StateRAMP, the new certification. Now that we have this, we are working towards that certification very quickly. We're almost finalized. So now that we'll be able to support our state and local government customers. And the third, AWS and Zoom had a very mutual partnership with Caresoft, a world-class public sector distributor. With them being on the AWS distributor plan and the sole source component for our U.S. public sector team in Zoom, it became a natural fit for our teams to come together and do this. More will come as we go forward here. But I want to point out that today blogs were sent out by both Zoom and AWS on this announcement. We cannot be more excited to be a partner around this in this space and accelerate for our customers. Back to you, Sandy. Thank you.
I think this is very exciting. Oops, I picked up my cell phone, not the flipper. I think this is a very exciting announcement. I'm so grateful that Matt was able to be here today. We got to participate in Zoomtopia last week or the week before last, I can't remember, for the announcement of Zoom becoming a partner, actually joining our APN and becoming part of our public sector program as well. And this just adds icing onto the cake to have Marketplace, have Zoom for Government now available in Marketplace as well. So congratulations again. Okay, so now we're coming up on our final announcement of the day, which is around Girls in Tech. And I don't know if is Adriana here? Adriana, could you stand up? So this is Adriana Gaspin. She is the CEO and founder. Give her a big warm round of welcome. She is the CEO and founder of Girls in Tech, which is a phenomenal organization. We have a partnership with AWS and Girls in Tech, and Girls in Tech supports women out of college, in the college age group, all the way up to like 4 or 5 jobs outside of college. So they have a really broad reach. So it's not just girls in high school, but it's really girls that are women in college and beyond. And so listening to all of you, as I did my 100 by 100 day tour, one of the things that really came up was the next generation of public sector leaders. Who are they going to be? And how do we generate more interest in public sector? It has such purpose. And how do we do that? Well, we listened to you and we looked at some of your studies, and some of the studies showed that a lot of college students aren't exposed to public sector. So a lot of the roles that we all have are not known about. And then another survey we looked at said that a lot of people viewed that public sector technology was all based on legacy. There was nothing new technology-wise happening there, and so a lot of people with tech skills weren't interested. And so AWS, partnering with Girls in Tech, have decided to kick off the next generation of public servants program for public sector. Now this program has 4 elements to it. The first is Girls in Tech with Adriana will host a live event, an evening with public sector leaders. So she's going to be looking for nominations from you for who are some of the most exciting leaders in public sector that you know that can really share that excitement with the next generation of leadership that's out there. In addition, Girls in Tech has a mentoring platform, and they're going to open up that platform in particular for this next generation with some of you to mentor that next generation. I already have 3 partners who have asked to sign up to do that, and I'm hoping many more of you will also say, I want to raise my hand and I want to help to mentor that next generation of public sector leaders. The third thing we're going to do in direct address of that comment that all public sector is legacy technology, Microsoft mostly, they want to work on the new stuff. And so we're actually going to have our very own Dom, who's going to lead a future of technology in public sector, talking about some of the uses of blockchain and AI and ML on the edge and quantum computing to really get them excited about that. And then Girls in Tech, if you don't know about this and you're trying to hire diverse candidates, Girls in Tech also has a jobs board. And on that jobs board, Adriana and team are going to create a specific section for opportunities, job opportunities with public sector. So we hope that you all will support this announcement, tweet it out there. I wanted to introduce her and have her stand up so you guys could go and chat with her afterwards and get connected to be part of this particular program. So congratulations, Adriana, and thanks for this great idea. Okay, so we are coming to the end of this part of our session. Next, we're going to go into our sales leader conversation, so you'll definitely want to stay for that. But I just wanted to kind of review.
Pretty good. How about you? Thank you. Good.
Not quite done. There you go. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I guess they thought I was done. So I just wanted to quickly review these announcements for you. We talked a lot about mission, and we've got several different announcements that we made in mission. In fact, 6 of those announcements that we'd love for you guys to help us get the word out as well. Many of these were us helping our partners address a customer mission. Many of these are us helping you with specific programs like ATO, for example, to help you in the marketplace. On migration, we made announcements around data-led migration with the marketing areas, as well as some of the different focus areas that we had on AMS, that announcement that we made with Smartronix as well. And then we also had announcements around modernization to help you out with those technology areas as well. We would love for you to tweet this out, and as well, we will publish our blog today at 11:30, so it's coming out here very shortly with all 15 announcements and links, so you can go to the specific press release or blog that we talked about or program page so that you could get more information about what's going on. So if you could, make sure that you help us get the word out. So before we leave, there are a couple things. One, I know that you guys are very privileged because you got to come here in person, and we appreciate all of those who are watching virtually as well. Make sure that you share this news with your teams so that they also know what happened here and could feel some of the energy and some of that love that comes from being in person. Make sure you share this on your social channels so that the word gets out there as well. And we also want you finally to ask questions. Like if you have a question about VMware, get to Lynn, or Zoom, get to Matt. John for Smartronix. Make sure that you ask questions so that you can be a part of some of these really powerful announcements that we've made today. Thank you so much for this section, and I'm just going to have folks come on stage here. Are we all set for that, folks? Yes, we are? Okay. So now we're going to switch over to one of the very most requested things that you guys talk about, and that is better linkage with our sales team. So could I ask the team to come out and join me on the stage? If your picture is up here, please come and join us on the stage. And do we have everybody? We have Kim, thank you. Dom. Yeah, no, please sit here because I'm just going to stand up. There wasn't enough room for another chair, so I'm just going to stand. Roland, okay, awesome. So guys, I first want to start out because these are our amazing sales leaders, and I've worked in several different companies, and I've never worked with a group of sales leaders who are so committed to partners, to partnering and adding value through the partners themselves. So I think you're going to have a really interesting time today because they are very, very, very partner obsessed. And that's what you guys wanted, right? Are you guys still with me? I want to make sure you're still with me. Okay, great. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm not going to, well, let me see if I can just go in order. So on my left, we have Don Demelico, who is the new VP for technology. So he leads all of our technologists, our CTOs, our system architects, crafts the strategy for the technology for AWS public sector and what we do. He has been an amazing partner, working with us on programs and just making sure that our partners are constantly taken care of. So please welcome Dom to the stage. Next we have Kim Majerus, Vice President. Did you guys catch that? Kim was recently promoted to Vice President for our U.S., state and local and education area. And you guys know that she has a fierce desire and passion for partners. And in fact, I probably talked to her more than any other sales leader about you guys and how you guys can help her even more. She also manages all of our ed techs and gov techs, and I know there are some of those folks out in the audience today, and has all of the vertical strategy leaders as well. So welcome, Kim, and congratulations. Beside Kim is Dr. Roland Ealing, who's the Chief Medical Officer. We have a Chief Medical Officer. I thought I was cool having a CTO. We now have a Chief Medical Officer and Director of International Government Health for AWS. So he looks after everything besides the US and China, really impacting our overall public sector health strategy and, more importantly, sales as well. So please welcome Dr. Roland. Our next contestant, if you would, on our game show today, is Clint Crozier. He is Major General, retired, used to run, sorry, that's right? Oh, okay, I thought you were going to correct me. And Director of our AWS Aerospace and Satellite business. He really helped to form that IBU, that independent business unit for us. He got us into the Space Symposium for the first time ever, and is an amazing evangelist for AWS and our space business. I thought I had the coolest job, but he may have the coolest job at AWS. So welcome to Clint. What?
Just need to give Liz the handheld mic.
Oh, you need a mic. Liz needs a mic. I don't know if this one comes out. Yeah, here it goes. Can you guys pass this down to Liz? We have to let Liz talk because Liz Martin is one of my favorite sales leaders. If you guys don't know Liz, you definitely should get to know her. She is the director for the U.S. Department of Defense for AWS. She is an amazing partner. She holds cadence with a lot of our partners and really works well with them, as well as working with all of the DoD agencies, helping them to address all of their challenges, and has particularly really flourished during COVID as well. So welcome to Liz as well. So first of all, I really want to thank you guys for spending time with us today and time with the partner team. I really appreciate that as well. So I'm going to start, let me see here. Where do I want to start? Dom, I think I'll start with you first. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so one of the questions, actually, I'm going to switch to Roland first.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Roland, so during my presentation, I spoke about customer segments and that how healthcare was going to change a lot in the next coming years and how it's already changed and how we're, right now really growing quickly in healthcare. So what is the biggest impact these partners who are focused in healthcare could make? What should they be focusing on in your opinion?
Thank you, Sandy. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you very much for inviting us onto the panel today. It's a great opportunity to meet you all and look forward to seeing you all in person later on today. And also thank you for highlighting all of the work that's going on around healthcare earlier on in your talk. I think it was a great focus and a real highlight about the exciting area that's taking place, now, especially during COVID, where I think the impact that you've all made in the arena of healthcare has been so important. And there might be 100 competency partners in government, but I'd like there to be even more in healthcare
there you
next
go.
year. That's my challenge. I think we all know that during the last 18 months, almost 2 years now, healthcare and life science organizations have really been struggling and have been really having to innovate in what they've been doing. And, that reinvention has crossed lots of different areas around collaboration, really getting data-driven insights. Cost of care has been a real issue as well. And I think the things that you've been able to help our end customers with have been really important. So as you know, healthcare customers tend to be buyers, not builders. And I think that's where it's really important that the power that AWS can bring is delivered through you. And I think we are really aware of that. And if I could say, there are three kind of areas that I'd say that we're looking at that I'd urge you to look at in depth. And we're doing a customer healthcare segment later on this afternoon. If you can come to that, that'd be great. Those three areas are the core mission workloads is one. Developing innovative solutions is number two. And three is around interoperability. And just to touch very briefly on each of those, I think the mission workloads around electronic health records, and so it's really good to see electronic caregiver and the things that have been done there as well. I think that's been really good. One record from Jennifer was a brilliant example. Imaging, so the diagnostic imaging, especially during COVID, has been really important. And again, working with the likes of GE Healthcare and Philips on those have been great partners. Genomics has also been huge as well. So partners like Illumina and DNA Nexus, they've been really fantastic partners to us, really changing the way care is delivered. I think on those innovative services, again, a nod to the startups. And I think the healthcare startup group's been fantastic. And to Manpreet, I know is at the back. Again, all of you who have been involved in the startups for healthcare has been fantastic. And around interoperability, I think this is going to be a really key area for the next few years about how we can free up the data for our healthcare customers and our patients about really improving the liquidity of that healthcare data. How can we break down the silos, use cloud for that benefit? And again, there's some fantastic work that Change has been doing, for example, during COVID. Really, not just healthcare data, it's also social determinants of health. Mm-hmm. So how do we link together all the stuff that's in state and local government as well, together with the healthcare data to really see where the impact can be given? So I think there's really exciting areas for the future, and again, very happy to discuss further afterwards for any of you who might be interested. So thanks for the opportunity.
And for that healthcare competency that Roland talked about, that is the only one today, because it is one of our fastest growing area, that we will make an exception, and Roland's team is accepting anyone, not just healthcare competency partners, but any partner who has a business in healthcare can come to Roland's session later today as well. So if you're interested in that. Thank you, Roland. Clint, so we just attended the Space Symposium together and saw that partners were leading the way there, right? I don't know how many joint meetings we had together. Yeah. So what should partners know about space and how to accelerate their journey. I know even before today, people are coming up to me going, what do I even do in space? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about that. I would share with you a couple of things. First thing I would highlight is the space industry is growing astronomically, space pun intended, right? Whether it's the number of satellites that are being launched every year, and today there's some 3,000 or so satellites in orbit around the globe. 10 years from now, depending on the study that you read, there'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40,000. That's a 10x increase over the next decade in terms of the number of satellites being launched. Whether you look at the number of new companies that are developing every year, and we see dozens and dozens and hundreds of new space companies being formed every year, or whether you look at the global spend across the globe in terms of the space economy. And the space economy today is at $447 billion around the globe, assessed to be a $1 trillion industry by 2040. So lots and lots of opportunity would be point number one. Point number two is it's all about the data. As much as I love flying satellites and launching rockets, and I've spent my whole career doing that, it's really all about the data. Those are the shiny ends that, you know, make for good television and movies, but it's all about being able to develop actionable, real-time insights from that data, right? And so it's about processing, disseminating, distributing, analyzing large volumes of data. Petabytes and petabytes of data will be coming down from space in the next number of years. A petabyte is 1,000,000 gigabytes, by the way. So we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of millions of gigabytes of data coming down, and we have to process, disseminate, distribute, etc. So it's all about the data. The third point I would make is we are seeing commercialization like never before in the DoD and in the space industry. In the first time in my career in 33 years, we're seeing contracts go to commercial companies from the Department of Defense, SDA, NASA, NRO, etc. So there are a number of fast-moving and rapidly growing commercial opportunities for companies to do work in space that traditionally was reserved for the largest of governments, the US and a handful of others. So the last point I would make is AWS saw all that coming over the last year and a half or so, and we recognize that the best way to support our customers that operate in space is to develop a team with deep space experience to manage that, as Sandy referenced. So we've built a team of people with expertise in every aspect of the space mission, and we are sitting down company by company and looking at all the ways advanced cloud-based technologies can support those space missions. Those of you in the room may not think you're a space company, but if you know how to manage data, if you know how to process data, if you know how to distribute data, if you know how to draw actionable real-time insights from data, you too may be a space company. So I would tell you, contact our team, let's sit down and look at how you can develop a space practice or a space focus, and we'd be happy to do that with you.
Hey, Clint, you talked about how you're building this team with space expertise, and you have amazing space expertise. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. You know, I spent 33 years in the U.S. Air Force flying satellites, launching rockets. I had a wonderful opportunity to stand the U.S. Space Force up right before I retired. We have hired people with 15 years experience at the NGA building and operating ground systems, with 20 years in NASA operating spacecraft and designing spacecraft. People who have been in the commercial industry, flying satellites, operating systems, or doing satellite communications infrastructure management. So every aspect of the space industry, we have somebody on board that understands that, who's prepared to sit down with all of you as partners or our companies and figure out how we leverage the cloud to mission effectiveness.
So we talked earlier, you know, about the mission being so important, and part of the value that Amazon can now bring to you is not just the technology, but is that expertise. Roland, I'm going to go back to you just for a second too, because you're a doctor, right? Or is that just fake, a fake doctor? You're a real doctor, right?
No, I'm a real doctor. I think I've got my certificate somewhere.
So can you give us a little bit of time about the industry expertise that you've built on your team as well?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sandy. I think to Clint's point as well, I think the mission is really important. I think having that deep understanding of end customer need is really important. And we've been very lucky, again, over the last 18 months, 2 years, to be really increasing our strength and depth in healthcare expertise. So we've got a lot of people that have been very deeply involved at all levels of customer engagement. That's government level, state and local government, academic medical centers, primary care, social care, and also payers. And so all of these different customer groups, we've got people on board on the teams who've got that expertise, and we really would like to work with you to share that knowledge and to be the best platform that you can build on. So yeah, we've been really working on that as well.
Awesome, thank you. And then Kim, I know you've got tons of expertise, and just like we heard from both Roland and Clint, education is going through a lot of disruption as well. So I'd love for you to kind of talk about 3 things that you see that are happening in education and how the partners can help you and AWS.
It's great to hear some of the trends when we think about the expertise that we're bringing in. We brought in Mike Hoffer from the Ohio State University. Any Buckeyes out there, I'm sure he did enjoy a hello. I think it's important on the education side. I think if you have kids or young kids or old kids, to see what has happened to them over the past 18 months. 56 million kids being shifted to online learning. It was a significant impact, but not just that. Think about those that were at college. 96% of the universities across the U.S. also had to shift quickly to a hybrid environment. It's been a change, and it's also been a challenge. But there are a couple of other things that I'd like to hit on. Buyers versus builders, that is truly what education institutions do, whether it's for their student information system or collaboration tools that allowed them to continue to attend class. Zoom became something that was extremely important to many of the schools, my kids included. So whether it's the buy versus build model, if you're an ISV SaaS provider, the opportunity continues to grow, and it's really about the student engagement and experience. Because I know what my 4th and 7th graders are expecting. It is nothing close to anything I experienced when I was growing up. But then I want to highlight from a solutions, a systems integrator, a solutions integrator, because I think the important part that Clint, is about the data. And it's funny because it's the same story across the board. It is, they have the data. The question is, how are they turning that data into wisdom and changing the outcomes that our students desperately need? It's no longer about, I'm on my marching way to go get a degree. It is really, how do I find a job with what I have interest in? But it all comes back from the data, whether it's through the LMSs, the student information systems. The important part to know is if you're a solutions integrator, those K through 12s, those higher eds, those education institutions are desperately looking for those that could help actually ask the data what it can do to change the output for students. That is so important. So data science, AI, ML, if you don't have those certifications or if you don't have that skill set today within your community, whether you're an ISV or a solutions integrator, that is an important one because we have the silos. We know where the data's at. How are you going to make it actionable? And I think, when I think about the call out to ISV or solutions integrators, find a way to help them access their data because I think we all agree we need to desperately change the outcomes of these students who are really struggling to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, so they're really the future, right? All of the partners out there who serve education are making a difference, not just for today, but for the future as well. Do you have any, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any, I am going to though, do you have any favorite stories about how your partners have made a difference?
You know what, I have to say, I've never seen my team work so feverishly through COVID early days, but I would have to call out Los Angeles School District. An amazing scenario, 700,000 students, several hundreds of teachers that quite frankly, literally overnight, had to go from in-classroom to online. They struggled to address even the interworkings of how the school district was operating. They were quickly able, literally overnight, they stood up Amazon Connect. If If you don't have an Amazon Connect practice, you should get one very quickly. What they were able to do is overnight change the way teachers can access service, access support from the school. But they actually took it a step further, and I think this is the heartstrings, right? So I'm a mom, so I get it. You know, kids struggle through the course of the last 18 months. Not only did they stand up their social services hotline for the school district in English, they also stood up in Spanish as well. So what a lot of students still needed that support and that guidance, and I was so proud to see the school district actually invest to say, hey, this is important for our students. So Connect was a great story. We saw that actually through our state and local government too. So opportunity for innovation. It's exciting to see state and county and city CIOs say what usually would have taken months, maybe years through procurement process. Literally, they were able to showcase that they can do it overnight, and many of them did.
I love that. I don't know, how many of you guys were tech support for your kids during COVID? For your schools? Yeah. So that support line sounds really good, right? I can't remember how many times I had to go and help them get set up. Great examples. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
So Liz, I'm going to go to you. So you have, you know, with DoD, I hope it's on. Is that mic on for her, guys? Yes? Okay, they say it is. Okay, the sales process is, you know, is multiple years, right? And I know that's probably the funnest part of your job, right? Awesome. Is that you've got these multi-years. And we've got so many partners out here that have been successful in building trust with their customers and meeting their needs. I'm curious to you, what do you think is the keys to successfully partnering with your team and DoD?
No, that's great. Yeah, it is not a short cycle, that's for sure. I think the biggest thing that you know I see with our DoD customers is they're desperately looking for our partners to embrace the innovation, the infrastructure, and the services that's used in the commercial sector, and really be able to leverage that within the defense community. And what I see with our partners is, you guys have that spark of innovation. You have interesting ways in which you're solving problems for your own organizations and for other customers. And that's an area where the defense customers really, really could benefit from the expertise that you all have built, even outside of your defense and government practices, to sort of infuse that into the defense mission. Because as our defense customers are looking to solve both the business of defense as well as the mission for the warfighter, there are so many interesting solutions that have been developed and deployed for customers outside of the defense community. So, looking at the best way to partner with a defense entity, it's really three things that I think about that make partners really successful with our customers. Not gonna lie, it does take a long-term view. So having that long-term partnership view, the long-term relationship, really get in there, roll your sleeves up, and plan for a long relationship, one that lasts beyond any of us in this room, that builds businesses and solutions that the defense community can use for longevity, I think is the number one area. It's a long-term game. The second would be, as I mentioned, bringing that innovation forward to the defense customers. The interesting things that you're doing, like we've talked about data, it's all about the data in the defense business as well. Bringing your ideas around how to get at those big data problems, how to break down the data silos across the Department of Defense, and use that data for insights, whether it's more basic analytics, because they could use that as well, or things like AI, ML to really get at some innovative solutions. So bringing your expertise forward, I think, is really, really important. And Sandy will like this. I will make a plug for the government competency. I'm a big fan of the government competency in the APN. So, my customers are looking for differentiated partners. Partners that really do understand their challenges and their concerns. And I believe the government competency is the largest industry competency with over 100 partners. I got that right.
Yep.
And growing. So would love to see more of you with the government competency. Would love that. We'll plug there. But they're looking for differentiated partners. It's helpful for them to sort of wade through the thousands and thousands of partners that are out there to sort of narrow down in some expertise.
And I'm curious, we talked a lot about Fedramp. So we had Lynn here from VMware, and she announced Fedramp High. And then Zoom, I talked about Fedramp Moderate. How important are some of those compliance things? Do you look for that? Tell us about that.
Super important. Our customers are looking for not just Fedramp and Fedramp High, but also the DoD accreditation levels as well for capabilities. So, typically, the DoD operates in the GovCloud, so they're operating in regions that require that level of accreditation. And I hope I'm right when I say this, wars are fought in the secret classification level, right? So secret is, if you're looking at mission systems, secret is also important as with competencies around classified capabilities, but super, super important. It is difficult to get waivers from mission owners to operate without these accreditations.
Awesome, thank you. And again, that ATO program, or Authority to Operate program, is a great way to get help and assistance if you are a partner looking to really grasp onto one of those compliance areas as well. Okay, Dom, last but not least. Sorry, I was going to start with you, but I'm going to go here for my question. He's our cleanup hitter. That's right. So you're the VP of all of our tech for AWS in public sector, and I'm curious, what would you propose to partners out there today in getting ready for customer meetings? What kind of things would you have them think through?
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. I think you heard from the rest of the panelists here, every bit of public sector had to go online in the past year. I mean, every bit. And as a technologist, I must have tripled my own use of technology in the past year, whether it was ordering food or learning online or getting telehealth visits or working from home technology. And it was just amazing. And every public sector organization that we've worked with has suddenly said, oh my goodness, it can't be a 3 or 5 year cycle for us to build a system. We have to go online now. And so when we talk to our customers about this, they're looking for what's the fastest way I can get online with a reliable system that meets my needs. And while AWS is a great place to build a solution from scratch, quite frankly, it's a lot faster if they can go with a partner-ready solution that gets them up and running today. And so one of the things I think it's really useful when you're talking with us and when we're talking together with customers is to emphasize your expertise, your domain expertise, and how quickly it can be deployed on AWS, ready to go for customers. And so what does that really mean? Right, so Sandy talked about some of the programs we've been working on to help equip you and make sure you're competent and you've got the skills necessary to be able to make that statement with a high degree of confidence in front of the customer, which is what we really want together. And so what we really want to make sure is when we go through and we assess with our customer what are the right solutions that they can get going with today, we're obviously going to look at partners who've achieved the competencies, who've demonstrated their ability to use the platform in the most efficient and effective way. And so several of the programs that Sandy talked about, the ATO program, being with the competency on migration and development, being the government competency, these are things we can go together and say to a customer with confidence, here's a partner who gets it. They know how to use the platform effectively to put their knowledge to work. So I'm going to leave you with 3 things that I think would be the best for you to be working on to get prepared so you can make those statements with that high degree of confidence that we both want. The first is understand and work on something that really isn't that new. All of you have heard of this thing called DevOps? I think so. It's something I've been talking about for years. I get excited about it because I'm technical. But Having a DevOps pipeline that tests your code on a regular basis and hits it hard and can deploy it quickly to the platform means that you're ready to go and deploy in minutes to any region around the world. And you know how many different regions we have that we continue to stand up so they can be available for customers where they are. So having a DevOps pipeline that tests your code, that makes sure it's rock solid, so it's ready to go and ready to be deployed in an AWS region, certainly a huge benefit. The second one I want to leave you with is use us as a platform. We obviously offer infrastructure services, and we can stand up servers for you and disks and storage. But quite frankly, that's undifferentiated heavy lifting. Let us do that. Use our services. Code to our data APIs. Code to our service APIs. You saw the announcement of AWS HealthLake. Take advantage of a solution that's already certified, that has APIs that you can use. So your expertise, your knowledge about the domain, the customer's problem, is what you can focus on with your code and with the data you can process. I love the story about how much data to process. One of the things I did not realize was how many schools that my children both go to large universities, they do wastewater management analysis, and that's a lot of data. So the ability to handle that kind of data and then use the APIs that can do the data analytics that we offer to you will make you that much more powerful. So move up the stack. And then lastly, I'm going to give you an idea on something new. If you haven't seen AWS Code Guru, this is a brand new service that hammers your code and does two things. Number one, it can review your code for security vulnerabilities, so you can find out and patch and take care of those things before you release. And you can do this in an automated way. Super powerful. And then second, it also can help you with performance. Find the bits of your code that aren't efficient and that can be tuned up. Because quite frankly, all of these systems we've seen that we've had to work on have had to scale immediately. Because millions, hundreds of millions of individuals, citizens, constituents have to use these systems the day they go live. And you want your system to scale and be perfectly running. And it's great when it happens. It's so gratifying when it does. If you use some of these new services like Code Guru, you can be that much further ahead when you deploy. So hopefully those are useful tips for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day today.
So Dom, can you give us a sneak peek of some of the, I know, you ready for it?
Sure.
Okay, good. So, Girls in Tech is going to announce this future, and you graciously volunteered to do that kind of future presentation, because the survey showed that most of the next generation felt like public sector was only using legacy technology. So what are some of the things that you're going to highlight for that next generation that you think the partners should also pay attention to too, if they could pick a couple of things to focus on?
Yeah, for sure. And my daughter's studying data science at the University of Michigan. So for me, this is comes right home, right? So I definitely think that artificial intelligence and some of the insights around data analytics are going to be super powerful. And they're inspiring. Look what you can do with data to show what can be done, to show where you should put scarce resources. And so for me, getting that love of data is something, and guess what? Public sector organizations have a lot of data that need to be analyzed. We heard it earlier from space, we know from education and health, and we know some of the things even from predictive maintenance when we see this stuff in the field. And I remember those big numbers you showed for all the vehicles, like the planes and the trucks and all the things that need to be analyzed. And so for me, that's kind of exciting. Where are you going to go for the hard problems, for the interesting problems, for the crunchy problems? I think it's in public sector. And so getting Girls in Tech energized about their ability to have an impact by looking at the data that's available in public sector and applying brand new technology to it, stuff they've learned about in school, for me, that gets someone jazzed. And I'm really hoping we can bring that idea together to say, hey, together we can do things where you take a look at public sector data using tools from partners and from AWS, and you actually have an opportunity to make an impact.
Outstanding. Okay, so I think we just have a few minutes left. What I want to do, and I know this is a surprise to you, but I want to do, and you guys love me for this, right? Don't you? Yeah. You guys want to hear what they have to say, like their one piece of advice for you, right? Can you give them a big round of applause to just pump them up, okay? So I'm going to ask each of you, like our lightning round, like the tweet that you would like these folks to take away, our great partners that are out there. So I'm going to start with you, Liz, and I'll go this way. So just start thinking about your one tweet, okay? So Liz, one tweet to the partners.
Listen before you speak.
Ooh, listen before you speak. I wonder if that was directed to me.
No. I just find that we oftentimes have so much we want to say to our customers that we start talking to them before we really listen to hear what they really want to talk about first.
That's a good one, Liz. Thank you. Okay, Clint.
It's a stellar time to move into the space industry. Thank you for that. I feel validated. It's a tremendous opportunity. There is so much growth. We are moving so many contracts to commercial companies. There are opportunities for you to develop a space vertical, a space competency, a space focus area. Let's sit down and talk and figure out how we can do that together. Lots of opportunity.
Outstanding, thank you. Roland, Dr. Roland. Real Dr. Roland,
Really?
I guess I should say. Real Dr. Roland.
I must be, I'm an academic interventional radiologist, so I'm actually a real doctor. No, I can't follow a pun like yours, I'm afraid, so that you've beaten me on the pun. I think it's all about healthcare innovation, and I think that's where we're looking at with the startups, has been said. I think there's a tremendous amount of innovation out there around healthcare, so that's what I'd say, go out and innovate.
Awesome. Okay, Kim, you're going to do a great one. I just know it. I can
gosh.
feel it coming.
It wasn't a question of if, it's a question of when. When is now for both education and SLG. They recognized, they saw, they experienced what that legacy debt has really cost them over the last 18 months. So if you've been hemming and hawing on which way you were going to go, it's now time to come over to the SLG EDU side.
Outstanding. Okay. So Dom is our last one. Can we give him a drum roll, please, for his last one? Okay, here we go. Okay, Dom, you're up.
I will. So mine is think big. Our customers need big solutions nowadays, and I'm going to leave you with four S's for thinking big. That's speed, let's go fast. Security, let's make sure it's rock solid secure. Let's make sure it scales so it can go big. And let's make sure it's stable so it's reliable and something we all know that we have to use is going to be there when we need it.
Let's help them save too.
Oh, you want the save bit? Okay, 5S.
There you go.
There you go.
like
So
that.
savings too. I like that. There we go.
There you go. Awesome. Hey guys, I want you to give them a big round of applause because truly, best sales team for partners in the universe. Thank you guys. Okay, thank you guys. We've got our fearless leader coming up next. You'll notice that every one of these folks use 3. Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know if I need it. No, I don't think so. Do I need that again? Anybody? Well, I don't think I do. Every one of these folks use 3s. And so next up, we've got Max Peterson. How many of you guys know Max? Yeah? Let's bring Max up. Max, how are you?
I think I'm in need of mic.
Oh, you don't have a lavalier?
No, you were so fast making the transition.
Oh, I'm sorry. They had me flashing up here, so I thought I was running late. So I was like, hurry, we gotta go.
Just bring over a mic.
Yep.
Or do you want to get mic'd up? I can talk for a while, you know.
And actually, the room is small enough here that I think I could probably project it.
No, I think you might need a mic. What do you guys think? Mike?
Okay.
So Max is the master of 3s. So if you'll notice, the entire team has now shifted. Each one of the sales leaders said, I'm going to talk to you about 3 things. Did you guys notice that? Until Dom at the very end, who said, I think I have 4 S's or 5 S's or a dozen S's, I can't remember. But I really want to welcome Max. Max has been with public sector his whole career.
I have been.
And he has been doing some phenomenal things. He had, I don't know if you guys know this, he started the partner business. Do you guys know that? I think he had 3 dogs and a flea is what you told me at one time. And he started it, I don't know if you know the story, but the way he started it is he said, okay, team member 1, you take partners whose name starts with an A through a F. And then a G through a M, right? Isn't that what you told me?
In the early days, Sandy, it was not exactly clear how this whole cloud journey was going to work out. And we had a couple of really strong partners that were committed and perhaps as optimistic as we at AWS Public Sector were in the early days. But we had a lot of interest and we just didn't have many people. And so we had to figure out some quick way to be able to triage all the incoming calls. And I was walking through here earlier and I saw a number of very familiar faces from that long journey and a number of new faces. So just super excited, Sandy.
Awesome. Well, Max is our fearless leader, and he has done not only partners, but he's done international. He's basically done it all in public sector.
10 years will do that to you.
We'll do that to you, right? That's right, that's right. And Max, what you have here are our very best partners. We actually had an oversold room for our partners, so they all came out and are really pleased to be here, both in person, and we're also on video, live stream, so
awesome.
that other folks around the world can see you as well. So the first question I have for you is, you've now been in the role for about 5 months. I want to know some of the things that you are surprised about or that you've learned in that 5 months that you'd like to share with the partners. In particular, your top 3, please.
All right, I'll do my best, Sandy. I would tell you it's been, as you all know, an incredibly unusual and difficult time, but it's also been this amazing sort of laboratory of work that we've been doing through partners with all of our customers. And the thing I think that comes across strongest and first for me is just how important invent and simplify has been for all of our customers and exhibited and performed so well by so many of our partners. Around the world, the solutions that you all helped put up kept the world in many ways going. Whether it was in the healthcare space and telemedicine, whether it was in the education space and all manner of remote learning, distance teaching, whether it was our not-for-profits, researchers who came to the forefront with the Diagnostic Development Initiative, and partners in AWS who literally deployed nation-scale systems, whether it was the SBA here in the US to be able to get out the early programs to kind of keep the wheels going in the throes of the pandemic, or whether it's been around the world now running so many different national vaccine and vaccine management solutions. So, I mean, bar none, the invention and the way that you took complex things and just made it easy and workable as people were in the midst of this big shift from in-person to remote, that was one of them. I think the second one to me has been the incredible jointness that we've seen through so many partners and AWS folks around the world. And by that I mean coming together in big ways and small ways, serving missions, serving people, putting the people-oriented things first. We've seen just a number of cases where partners were just absolutely essential and 100% aligned with the work that we all needed to do for customers around the world. And I think the final one, and we've made an announcement about that just this morning, really has to do with recognizing that out of the pandemic, we still have so much work to do on equity, inclusion, diversity. We just this morning announced a new initiative for health equity research and health equity systems and innovation. 3 years, $40 million in credits and technical assistance, and it's open to all of our partners to participate in. So go to the website, check it out. We're accepting applications from now until November 15th, and we just would love to keep that invention, the alignment, and address equity and inequities around the world together.
That's outstanding. One of the other announcements we just made, Max, was around the partnership with Girls in Tech, and really looking after that next generation of public sector leader. So our partners in our last survey said that a lot of people aren't considering public sector because they don't know how exciting the roles are, and they don't know all the cool new technology. So we also just made that announcement here as well.
That's an awesome announcement. And I mean, it really plays upon the role that we've envisioned for ourselves for 10 plus years. We've always said from day one that our two tenets in public sector are to pave the way for disruptive innovation. Man, what an 18 months you all have done doing that. and make the world a better place. And so in some ways, Sandy, I feel like the work that we're doing and that you just announced is just a legacy and a continuation of the work that we've always done. But it also comes at a time when I think many, many more people are recognizing the importance of social impact. And certainly Amazon, with one of its newest leadership principles, specifically recognizes that with scale, you need to take on more responsibility.
That's right. Okay, so a question that our partners contributed to this discussion was, they want to know what keeps you awake at night, but in particular, what keeps you awake at night that they can help us with.
Okay, well, let's see, what keeps you awake at night? Well, we were really excited to be able to have this summit here today and be able to do it. I'll take that, come on.
Yeah.
And we're all striving to get back to, some sense of normalcy, but we also recognize that we're in a hybrid world, and for a lot of reasons, for the better. And so while we're taking, for our in-person participation, all of the appropriate safety, schemes that we should undertake, we're also presenting a lot of this on live stream. And I think for us, this becomes this kind of event that helps all of us in this room, keep on moving forward and out of the grips of the pandemic and into, what comes next for us now. I think also there's an amazing opportunity for all of us to reflect a little bit and just think about those lessons we've learned in the last 18 months. The last thing I want to do is slide backward. I think we've made tremendous strides in a number of areas where people told us, oh, you can't do that, oh, it's too hard. But now in the last 18 months, we've discovered really we actually can do that, and we can give ourselves permission to keep on inventing on behalf of our customers and with our partners.
Yeah, that's really great. And the follow-up question I would have to that, so that's kind of what keeps you up late at night. Our customers are constantly talking about the value that our partners bring to the table. And I'm curious, what are some of the levers that you think our partners could pull to add even more value for our customers today?
Well, one of the things that I'm excited about is the AWS government competency has just become, I'm sure Sandy knew this.
We announced it. We just announced it.
Did you announce also that it's become the biggest vertical industry competency?
And in fact, we had
hundreds of partners in it.
We had ThoughtWorks and Sprinkler tied for number 100 that came up on stage today.
That's great.
And then Liz also announced it again. And now you can announce it for the third time. Number 3.
There you go.
3.
Now, I tell you, so for so long, we've been building the foundations for cloud, and that work doesn't stop. Today, the foundations for cloud, in my mind, right, are around cyber, security, and certification. And so we've got a number of partners, long-standing partners and new partners that have been involved in helping in all those different areas. And so with the US executive order, we've got many, many partners that have put together solutions to help customers from FireEye to Telos to Slack to Stack Armor, and I can't name everybody because I would be here all afternoon, but that would be kind of that area that continues to be foundational. And anywhere we can help our customers move faster with AWS and partner solutions in the area of cyber, in the area of security, and in the area of compliance, I think that's absolutely still essential. 10, 11 years later, still essential because it's foundational and because the threats don't stop. To me, the second one is really customer mission. And we've seen customers make great progress with partners in terms of continuing to innovate, to be able to deliver on customer missions faster. Solutions like the VMware Cloud that is now, VMware Cloud on AWS that is now Fedramp High. It just helps customers with mass migration and modernization of those systems. And the one thing that we learned during the course of the pandemic response was customers on the cloud are able to be more flexible, more agile, and can cost optimize all the way along the way. So everything you do from a mission perspective to help those customers move faster, that's huge. Number of different mission ones. A lot of customers here involved with health missions, and really has come to the forefront when you're talking about telehealth and telemedicine, when you're talking about diagnostics and things like that. And then I think the other area that continues to be super important for customers has been those areas where we can actually help our customers rethink the way they've done business in the past. And in more cases than I can remember, customers have said, you know, we've done more in the last 12 months than we've been able to accomplish in the past 3 or 5 years. And I think that's the big opportunity ahead of us. Keep helping customers, you know, figure out what else they can do next. I heard us talking about space a little while when I was over on the sidelines. And, you know, we launched this thing called AWS Ground Station in 2018. And we sort of thought that there was an opportunity there to work with partners around the world in the aerospace and satellite industry, and customers, and start trying to exploit the opportunities available by connecting everything on Earth to all of the satellite capability that you've got around the world, and then getting all of that data and analytics into the AWS cloud. And it's been nothing short of stellar what we have seen happen over the last just year as we really launched and ramped up that satellite and aerospace business. So I think maybe I heard Dom say this too as he was wrapping, but we have to continue to think big and innovate on behalf of our customers. And it is something that we could not do without the partners that we've got and everybody here in this audience.
Okay, so follow-up question. What should they not do? Is there anything that you think that our partners should? Yeah, I know, it's a surprise question. I've been doing this today, I don't know why. Is there anything they should not do? Anything that you've seen?
Yeah, sure, I've got some nots.
Okay, let's do some knots. Let's do a couple of knots.
Don't get complacent. You know, in Amazon terminology, we talk about it's always day one. You know, always be scrappy. You know, always look for the next new thing. Always work back from your customers. But I think one of the things that you have to make sure, right, is after literally decades of success, don't get complacent. Keep on challenging yourself. We've got so many different opportunities out there. Sandy and her team really appreciate what I've heard from different partners. They said our partner development managers are really part of the secret sauce. They work on behalf of me and my business. And so that's what we've always tried to do, is we've always tried to make sure that with our partner ecosystem, from 10 years ago when we covered everybody based upon alphabet to the much more sophisticated way that you cover everybody today, is that we help and we try to innovate on behalf of our partners and some of the programs you've talked about. So, you know, fight the status quo, can't get complacent. I would say the second thing is keep on challenging us. I get to participate regularly in different kinds of partner roundtables and different kinds of partner events. And it's always fascinating to me to listen to both our most tenured partners and our new partners talk about what's working and what's not working. And I would tell you, and Sandy has carried on this tradition with her whole team, you all have to tell us. If there's something that we're doing is just not hitting the mark, you know, please be vocal and speak up. So that's my second don't do is don't stay silent. Keep on being the very active and vocal partners that you are, and we'll keep on doing our best to make sure that we're working together to solve customer problems.
And Max, we just went through 15 announcements. 90% of what we do comes from you guys, right? A lot of times Max will go, oh, that's a great idea. I'm like, I wish I had come up with it, but it came from a partner or a partner roundtable or a partner one-on-one.
I think ProServe Ready came up like that, right?
That's
Which
right.
is partnering with our services organization
That's right.
and partners.
Think Big for Small Business came up with like that as well. So you guys have these great ideas, so I agree with Max. Make sure that you're telling us All of those great ideas. Okay, that was 2. I know you must have a third don't.
No, I'm better on do's. My
Okay,
do's always come in
okay.
3s. My don'ts,
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So you guys know we just came up with a new leadership principle. You referenced it earlier about, you know, scaling and the responsibility that comes from that. What is the superhero who says that? With great strength comes great responsibility. Anybody know who
I think it was
says that?
Jeff just before he...
Oh, Jeff Bezos, yes. But there was a superhero who said that. Anybody know who that was?
Iron Man?
Was it Iron Man? Okay. Iron Man.
Yeah, there you go.
Iron Man. Okay, there you go. So I would love to know about that LP, and how do you think that that's going to impact our partners? Does it have impact on our partners, that LP in particular?
Well, we'd like to believe it does, because part of what gives us scale is the partner ecosystem. And the other thing, I did mention that just a little bit earlier, was the fact that for us, it is something that is ingrained. And from the announcement we did today about inviting customers and partners to join us in new ways to address health equity, to the Diagnostic Development Initiative, to our disaster response teams. I mean, the public sector business has just always believed that part of our responsibility, an inherent part of our responsibility, is taking on those things for social good. And I was thrilled when we saw that announced just in the midpoint of this year, because at a certain level, right, it said, wow, the work that we've been doing, you know, has been important. We always knew it was important, but there's something about it when your organization sets that out, you know, as a key principle, a key guiding light, or a key leadership point of view. And I think our partners have been engaged in many parts of that along the way with us. As I mentioned, the health equity program that we've embarked on, 3 years, $40 million in credits and technical assistance, is specifically open to partners, because it really is your expertise, your knowledge of distinct customer needs and the problems that you're solving all around the world. All around the world. You all have that sort of last mile knowledge of what our joint customers need. And so it's really good that you're involved with us in the social impact. We also share other things. You shared the work that we're doing with something like Girls in Tech. Internally, you know, we've taken on additional training and certification classes. We have diversity and inclusion ambassadors. So I don't want you to think that we've stopped progressing in that area. We keep on experimenting to understand, how do we really fulfill that big vision? And it's one other area where we're super open to doing those things with partners. The last one I'll just mention, right, for a number of years, we've had a jobs board, because we realized that training is not enough. And so AWS Educate and AWS Restart and programs like that have always had this point of view that skills are good, but getting the job and driving employment is really the end result that we're looking for. And the Restart program is one example. 90% of the graduates who get through the Restart program get job interviews. And it's with, in many cases, our partners. So it's how we're trying to do our small piece to make sure that we're both doing the job of educating and skilling a workforce, but also hopefully delivering a skilled workforce you know, to our partners, to our customers, and for Amazon.
Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to do a little lightning round with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Just so long as nothing strikes.
Okay. So I'm interested in, what's your favorite partner program?
What's my favorite partner program? Ooh, well, I'm probably a little bit biased about this, but I think the partner programs that help us drive the security and compliance pieces are essential. And we do that right here, right in the US, with things like the FSMA work that you do, or the Fedramp work that you do, or the CMMC work that everybody does here. But again, that's just one of those ones where it's a huge blocker for customers, and it's a big potential risk for people moving to the cloud, that without solutions that are vetted, accredited, and easy to implement and go fast, they hold everybody back. And so I think all of the things that we do, I mean, obviously the government competency probably is my favorite, but all of the things that we do in terms of helping our partners to help everybody raise the bar on security and compliance, I think that's got to be my number one sort of favorite. And we're doing them in different ways outside the US. So we've got the programs inside the US, and then you've got all the different security and compliance schemes for customers outside the US. And it's not always hard, or it's not always easy. You know, it's a hard job working on those things. So partners who deliver capability in that space are particularly mindful for me.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's the ATO program again, Authority to Operate, if you're interested in that program. Favorite service?
My favorite service? I'm going to have to go with the whole collection of AWS services that help implement serverless solutions. And the reason I've got to go with that is because it's been phenomenal to watch what customers and partners have been able to do in that space. If I think about some of our not-for-profit customers, I still remember when Comic Relief came up to us, and they were absolutely thrilled. They were just absolutely thrilled because the AWS team had helped them work on a serverless architecture for their giving platform. And they shared how it had reduced their costs by 90%.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
The account manager, I'm sure, was going, wow, that worked
really well.
Really well. What do I do next?
Yeah.
But across the world, those kinds of dramatic results are available. And the other thing that's remarkable about it is how fast you can put it together and how well that whole system scales. And so that's the other thing, Sandy, that a lot of folks, including the SBA, Small Business Administration, they put together a largely serverless architecture in order to respond to the huge expected inbound volume of requests in the immediate aftermath of some of the US government's pandemic response efforts. And the serverless architecture just performed flawlessly and scaled amazingly. And one final tiny example, we had a customer who was putting together a system for compliance, and this was actually a city, and they put the system together by drawing on a whole bunch of disparate data sources. And a lot of our city governments, our municipal governments, this happened to be a borough over in the UK, they don't have all of the IT skills in the world. They don't have all of the resources in the world. Well, they relied upon a partner, put together a simple serverless architecture solution for something called fly tipping, throwing away rubbish in places that you shouldn't.
Interesting.
And they were able to analyze pictures of where the trash had been dropped, geotag it, and they did 3 things that were remarkable. The first was they improved service to the citizen. They were able to cut down by 6 days, so on average from 10 days to 4 days to response to rubbish that was laying around and making the city look bad. They cut that from 10 days to 4 days. The second thing that they were able to do was they saved real money on the execution of service, because part of what they did was they built in route optimization. So they actually went around, the city workers were actually routed to be able to pick up everything most efficiently. They calculated they saved $37,000 a year, which was a lot for the city. But what is perhaps most remarkable, and third, it cost them about $200 a month in AWS charges.
Wow.
So my favorite service is a whole collection of services that we're seeing partners and customers do amazing things with in that serverless space.
Very interesting. Okay, the last, what's your favorite LP? And you can't do the scale one again. So what's your favorite leadership principle?
My favorite leadership principle still has to be think big. And my team has heard me, and probably some of the partners have heard me, when we'll get into a discussion and we're wrestling with kind of a big idea, a thorny problem, and when those words come out of your mouth and you say, well, I don't think we can do that because, and that's usually when I play timeout, and I go, come on, let's not manage to constraints. Let's not manage to constraints. Let's let ourselves think really big. The constraints will come later. You know, there's no lack of constraints when you think of, hey, we all work with inside of budgets. You know, we all work with so many great people that we've got on our teams, but that's kind of what we got on our teams when we start. So my favorite one is think big, because it really gives you that sort of direction to not manage to constraints, to ask what if, or how about, or how could I? And so you know, for a long time, that's been one of the favorites. It's hard for me not to also think about customer and partner obsession.
Yep.
I think those really go hand in hand, because if you're really listening to customers, you're really listening to partners, you know, you'll hear all of the things that they want and need to do, and that lets you, you know, think big on their behalf and innovate on their behalf.
Okay, so our last question, you heard me probably ask the last group, which was if you could leave one tweet for the audience that you want them to take away and think about, what would be your final tweet for this audience? And it can't be 3 tweets, it's one tweet. Okay.
I was going to try and sneak in 3. I may still try and sneak in 3, Sandy.
Okay.
I would tell you, I think the biggest opportunity is to imagine what we can do in this post-pandemic period for all of our customers and for the underserved population in the world, whether it's underserved by health or underserved by education. We have learned and we've proven out, you know, just how robust and flexible solutions built on the cloud can be. They can be accessible everywhere. They can be powerful and effective everywhere. You know, if you do nothing more over the next 3 days of this conference, if you just keep thinking big with us, I think we're going to have not just a fantastic conference, but I know that we're going to make a dramatic impact for the better on the world ahead. And so with all of these friends and with all of this brain power, that's the thing that I want to do most. But I am going to sneak in a second one.
Okay.
Which is, we've all learned and we've all coped the best we can over the last 18 months. This summit gives us the first opportunity to make sure that we take advantage of those things, you know, that make us the people that we are here. And it's interacting with others. It's discussing or describing new opportunities. It's some of the spontaneous meetings, you know, which we can't get online. And so I'd encourage everybody, you know, take full advantage of this opportunity to learn and be curious. 150 different sessions here, builder sessions for folks who are advanced, learning sessions, lightning round sessions, technical sessions. There's just more content that you can get in the next 2.5, 3 days that we hope helps you and helps your business. And for everybody who's joining us virtually, we've tried as best as we can to live stream a number of those items too. So if you're in person here, please make the best of it. You know, find somebody, learn something, think about something great to help change the world. And for everybody who's participating on the live stream, you know, please join all the sessions. If you can't join a session, they'll be posted and up and available in a number of days after the conference. But it's great seeing everybody here. The room you've got here, Sandy, is packed. It's big. And we're just super excited. So thanks for having me. Anything else?
Thank you. No, the only thing I would say is just to, you know, a lot of leaders will get up and say, well, think big with us. But in Max, in our last roundtable, 2 partners, he challenged them to think big. They forwarded emails, and we're right now executing on 2 of what they thought was going to be too big that we're now executing on. So when he says think big and we'll take action on it, he really means that as well. Thank you for that leadership, for raising the bar and setting a great example for us as your team, as well as for the partners, and for loving them so much. I mean, Max is always spending time with our partners. He always takes the calls with the partners, and he truly cares. So thank you, Max, for that leadership.
And thank you, Sandy, for actually making sure that some of the big thinking gets down to the getting done stage too, right? There's not all of the big thinking without ownership and execution doesn't wind up delivering what we look for. So thank you and your team. You do a fantastic job.
Thank
we
you.
all super appreciate it. Can we give her a round of applause?
Thank you. Thank you.
That's for you, Sandy, and the whole team.
Yeah, I was going to say it should be for the team, absolutely. So thank you, Max. Really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you around the next couple of days.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Okay, so we are coming up on just one more little closing item, and then I'll let you guys run out of here. It was great, right, to see the sales leaders here, to see Max come and speak to you, see all the amazing announcements. So I'm going to close with a story. You guys want to hear a story? Some of you may have heard it before, but I love it because it's a true story. I was walking down the street last night in Washington, D.C., coming back from a dinner, and as I was walking, I saw a bottle on the ground. So I reached down and I picked it up, and I accidentally rubbed it, and out popped a genie. Now, this is a true story for sure. And the genie said, Sandy, this is your lucky day. Not only do you get to go and see all of your amazing partners, but you get 3 wishes. However, there's a catch. There's always a catch, right? However, there's a catch. Whatever you wish for, your evil archenemy gets double. So I thought for a second, I said, okay. So the first thing I wished for was a room overflowing with partners, and poof, I got that, but my evil archenemy got 2. The next thing I wished for was a beautiful red Tesla, because who doesn't want a red Tesla? I got it, but poof, my evil archenemy got 2. So for my third wish, I thought for a moment, and I said, Genie, would you scare me half to death? So I don't want to scare you half to death, but I do have 3 things that I want to leave you with today. Thing number 1, a team aligned around a vision can move a mountain. So we've been working off of our mission, migration, modernization now for some time. And I really think that this has really propelled us forward. You see it in the number of new partners and growth in government, the acceleration in healthcare. You see it overall. So continue to help drive this vision. It really is working backwards from our customer. So wish number 1, continue to drive behind our overall vision for us as a team. Number 2, and I got this quote from one of our partners, Presidio, Liz Albert, and she made a statement to me one day that said, a great program can accelerate a partner's value in the market. So my second wish is that you take into account all those programs that Amy talked to you about, that you heard up here from the sales leaders, Max's favorite program, and that you use and leverage all of those programs and initiatives, and that you think big about them and continue to give us new ideas for what else it is that you need to be successful. My third wish is, and this is a quote from me, our partners are our secret sauce in adding value to our public sector customers. I wish and hope that you know how valuable you are to us, not just in the business for AWS, and not just in the value that you bring our customers, but how important you guys are to us as people as well. And I'm hoping that with these 3 things, you as our value-added partners, all the programs and initiatives that we have surrounding our core vision, that we can have the absolute best rest of the year, continuing into 2022 as well. So what are my takeaways for you guys? I want you to share this with your teams. I know not all the teams got to come. I got notes from people saying, I really want to go, but my company can only have this many people. We've done a lot of blogs and press releases, and we did that so that you can equally share that. If you can help us spread that externally as well. We've got lots of people watching via live stream and video. We got lots of people, though, who aren't going to be able to watch it. So if you could help us share that out, especially the news for our partners, that would be great. And then finally, ask a lot of questions. One of my best friends is a professor at Stanford, and she did research and found that The most innovative people ask about 100 questions a day. On average, we as adults only ask 10 questions a day. 10 questions a day. So ask a lot of questions. Give us those 100 questions that you've got, because that's going to help us get to that next big innovative idea. Now, we really want your feedback as well, and I want you to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments or big ideas. I've got my Twitter up there, but my email is Sandy, like my name, Sandy, CT@amazon.com. And I will respond to your email if you have any questions or anything like that as well. Please also rate our session. This is a QR code. You can take your camera up, take a picture of the QR code, and then rate our session. We really do want to know, what did you like? What can we do better? Because we will do something like this at reInvent. So we want to make sure that we're meeting your needs and adding value to you. We are here to serve you. There's lots of exciting things happening throughout this week. These are just 3 of the ones that I was going to call out to you. And then we're going to have to turn the room right after this session. So if you guys can meet us outside, as they have to sanitize, turn the room around and all that in adherence with COVID, we'd love to meet you outside. And again, it's my great honor and my great privilege to serve with my team, as well as with all of you as partners. Thank you.